So we'll kick things off with your journey, Iñaki. I was doing a bit of research prior to this call, of course, as I mentioned early on as well. You have a long and illustrious career as a football coach. You were the head coach of the Real Madrid Football Academy for quite some time. You were also head coach of the international camps. So these were international camps that Real Madrid had held all over the world. You're now head coach of the Spanish soccer schools in the Dubai Sports City, a licensed coach as well. So talk to me about how your coaching career began, why you decided to be a football coach, and just walk me through some of the decisions that you made coming out of university.
Okay. Good afternoon first. Thanks for the interview. I think it's really appreciated that you guys have interest in someone like us. It's very important for us to share what we do and how we do it. I think we can help some people and of course let's go ahead. Well, my journey starts like any football lover. I was the first present that I got when I was a kid was a ball when I was two. We were raised in Spain with football as a religion, and obviously every single kid or most of the kids in Spain are dreaming about becoming footballers. That's the beginning of our journey. We all tried to be footballers, and somehow either we got injured or we didn't have the level or our dream was higher than we thought. At some point, you have to realize that becoming a footballer, as we said in Real Madrid, is more difficult than becoming an astronaut, and you have to realize and accept that, no? So, yeah, when I finished my career, well, I was playing in quite a decent level till I was 18, and I realized that there was nothing else. After that, I got injured, and then I realized that I had to study. I had to depend on my brain to make a living than from my legs, no? Because obviously when you get injured so easily, obviously if you don't have the right level, it's very difficult for you to tackle life financially properly, no? So I started first thing trying to please my parents. I started studying veterinary instead of medical doctor because both of them are doctors and wanted me to become a doctor. But I was a bit of a rebel myself. I didn't see myself as a doctor. So I started physical education in the University of Physical Education and Sports Science in Madrid. And all my friends who were coming from a good school and everything, they were laughing at me because they were thinking that I was doing classes of football or classes of volleyball and this kind of thing. And that actually empowered me to become the best that I could. Always people around and the context thinking that the sport was something for as a hobby, not as a profession, made my engine of trying to show everyone that actually sports science can explain life as it is. No? And that's why I started coaching very early. Actually, I started coaching in my school when I was 14 years old with little kids. I've always had a really good feeling about being around kids. I think they give you a good sense of energy, a good sense of life, a good sense of purity. And that's the thing. I started coaching in my school. I started coaching. I continued coaching in different clubs in the suburbs of Madrid, in really poor areas, in which we realized how important football is to make a little society, to make for teaching kids in terms of values. And I had the opportunity to start enrolling with Real Madrid as soon as I finished the university, because there was a position to travel abroad for a camp in the UK, and they needed people who speak English and have this bachelor degree. And I was lucky enough to speak, and I would say at that point, medium English, because my parents took care of me and they sent me to Ireland very early to learn some English. But yeah, that was the beginning. We spent 3 months, 12 coaches all around the UK, giving campus of football with Real Madrid as the main thing. And I loved it. I not just enjoyed it. I learned a lot from everyone. And in September, when we came back from that experience, they offered me the option to start coaching in the Real Madrid Academy, in the Real Academy. And that was the beginning. And imagine that was I'm not gonna say a dream come true, but that was the moment in which you realize, like, okay, now we can make a difference. And I am a coach because that. I mean, Real Madrid gave me everything. I started coaching in 2004, and I finished coaching in the academy 2013, if I'm not wrong. 2011, sorry, if I'm not wrong. And I went through all the different categories, and every single category working with the best players that you can have at that age has been a blessing. Obviously, they made me a better coach. I was always clear that I didn't want to get to the first team of Real Madrid, so that's why I stayed there for a long time. I really knew that what I could give more is in the youth stages of kids. And yeah, I went through all the divisions till under 16. And I've seen all those kind of players. I've seen Mario Morso, I've seen David Soria. I mean, I don't know, so many players in first division. Now, I didn't count them, but we could say more than 30, between 30 and 50. I don't know how many there must be in first division right now. And the good thing is that they don't pay you money back. It's the most important thing. They pay you energy back, okay? And when someone is going around Dubai or someone is always thinking about something about Dubai, they always remember us, which is the most important thing and the one that is bringing you more prestige. Let's call it like that. And yes, right after that, after being in the stadiums playing against Barcelona in finals and beating them and losing against them and being in the top level of football at that stage, suddenly, yes, there is one day in which this is over. They tell you that they want someone else, or they want to count on someone else, and that's completely right. And they put me in the international section, no? And that's actually a key factor for me because we started developing projects in Korea, we started developing projects in Japan, and in Japan, the one that has been that was my translator in there became a really close friend, and now we are doing business together through Dubai. So that's why we have so many Japanese players in Dubai. And yeah, in 2013, the Spanish project, the Spanish Soccer School project came. I was going to sign a contract in Japan as the Real Madrid academy coach. I mean, director in there. And right in the same weekend I was doing this, Michel Salgado called me and said three things. He said the Spanish Soccer School. He said Michel Salgado. He said it's Dubai Sport City, and I didn't even ask about the salary. I just said, this is the project that I want. I think it's what, let's say, our life or my life has been more important, the projects. Make sure that the projects that you were handling were strong enough in order to make sure that you could make an impact. And obviously this one has made an impact. You've been here. You know what we are doing. You know how we are doing it. And actually we can say that we are developing human beings in the best way we can, which is through football, no? And that's the beginning of the Spanish Soccer School. I remember that first year, which was very difficult because obviously we were coming from top level and had to adapt to players who didn't even know how to play or hadn't played football ever. You have to come back to the beginning when you were a PE teacher and reinvent yourself, no? And that's what we did from there, from the beginning. And 7 years later, we can say that we have developed the grassroots at a point in which obviously we are not at the same level as Real Madrid, but we are close. And that's a really big thing for us. So I think I answered a long one.
No, I mean, it was fascinating though. It was fascinating. I was completely gripped as you were relating your story. I can clearly tell that, you know what, it was in many ways a dream come true for you as you were rising through the ranks, of course, being head coach of Real Madrid, then taking up this project with Michel Salgado of the Spanish Soccer School. So I can clearly tell that, you know what, you're living the dream and you're continuing to live the dream in many ways.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that's true is because, as you mentioned, you're taking up projects through which you can actually make an impact. So it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of meaning on a daily basis when you're making a difference to the lives of these young kids who want to, go on to be the next Ronaldos and Messis and Ramoses of the world.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. More than making them the Messi and Ronaldo, which is very difficult, I think the main engine for them is the motivation of trying to achieve that, which is very difficult. But at the same time, managing those expectations and being with them during this journey and making sure that they don't make the mistakes some of us have made or some of us couldn't achieve, give them the empowerment in order to try it. And when they're trying to do something like that, that journey, as we define it, is so challenging, it's so difficult. But nowadays, we'll discuss later about the COVID situation, but nowadays, as I said before, anything in life you can explain it with football and with a metaphor of football. So it's a fantastic experience for them to try to tackle the difficulties that they have in the daily life. Just trying to think, what would you do if you were in a pit? What would you think you would do if this situation would be with you in a pit? Would you quit? Would you try this? Would you try that? So it's not just about talking about values as a generic thing. It's that there are very concrete things you can develop in the players, not only physically as a training. I think here the mentality, the attitude is the key factor in which we try them to be as strong as possible, no? And we can tell you, our players are very strong mentally, and now they keep training and they keep doing their task online, which is difficult right now to continue pushing. But I see when we have a video conference like you and me today, and they see our face, just the blink or the spark that you see in their eyes, that gives you everything. It's really difficult to define, but that gives you a purpose for a living, no? And honestly speaking, I'm passionate about my job. I love to develop what we are developing. And at the same time, well, you've been to the tournament. It's a crazy thing to manage, to organize. But at the same time, again, you have the empowerment and the passion that we put to develop these kind of things. There is no money in the world to pay for it. That's the beauty of it.
Absolutely, Iñaki. And as you mentioned, look, I've been to the Spanish soccer schools. I've been to the site. It's absolutely breathtaking, state of the art facilities. It's uh, it's hard to imagine like the progress that you guys have made in such a short span of time. So credit to you, credit to your team, credit to Michel Salgado. Talk to me a bit more about the project for viewers who might not know about the Spanish soccer schools project in Dubai. Talk to me more about the origins of it. Why exactly did you start this project? Why did you pick Dubai as a start? And then we can move on to some expansion plans that you guys may have to expand to the rest of the world.
Yeah. The beginning of the project was very difficult because these facilities were offered to Mitchell. I didn't know Mitchell. I mean, we were working in Real Madrid within the same period. It was quite funny. I was in one building, he was in another building. We were so close, and we never met. We just met once in a corporate event from Beat and Win. But after that, yes, we started. I remember we met in February 2012. When I came here to the first meeting, and for me it was impressive, no, to face a guy with so much passion and so much determination, with so much purity. I mean, seriously, and so nice. A guy who was very very close. And instantly, I fell in love with the project. I fell in love with the whole thing. The problem with this project is that when the crisis hit Dubai in 2008, these facilities that you saw, which are amazing, were empty. There was nothing for 3 years. So after Spain won the World Cup in 2010, which was the beginning of our, let's say, recognition as Spanish coaches, as Spanish football, as football as a big country. Then this project came to us, and the Westport City owner wanted to develop an academy with a Spanish flavor. And that's why they were able to contact Mitchell after several meetings with several providers. Mitchell was the one, let's say, selected. And he was the one who contacted some of us, and I was the one in the end to be his manager and to be his head coach. And when we started, I remember we had basically no more than 100 kids. We were beginning with a different program, with a different kind of coaching. And making an impact from the beginning was quite difficult because people is not going to accept a change like this. And suddenly a Spaniard is coming here to tell me what to do. So it was a process of layers, step by step. And I remember when we definitively launched it, which was in September 2013, I remember that Mitchell told me, no, we're going to do a press conference. And I said, oof, this is a good opportunity for us, not just to make another press conference like the typical press conference. Let's make a party, a proper party of football. Let's make sure that we tell the press what we are. And I remember that I did a video with whatever editing video I had at that point, really old computer, Toshiba, I remember I did it. and, and we put things that were key. trying to show people what football means for us in Spain. No? And I remember I have a video and I play and I still have it that I put my give me goosebumps. No, it's not just about the Spain winning the World Cup. It's about what we want to transfer to people here. And I can remember from the first day, everyone felt that there was something different. There was something different coming in there. Why? Because we wanted to make them feel different. It's not just a training program; it's a way of life for us. And we did it. We made that impact from the beginning. I remember when we started September, from one day to another, we had 100 kids. Suddenly, we had 600, and it was impossible logistically to reorganize that with only 5 coaches. We were 5 coaches. We had to bring more, and that was a fantastic problem to have. But at the same time, it was a responsibility. And I remember for a period of 2 weeks, groups with more than 50 kids, whose work was crazy, really crazy, waiting for the visas to be approved for the new coaches to come. And yeah, since then we went really high in terms of numbers, we were really high in terms of players, but at the same time, again, it was our responsibility to keep the expectations of our coaches. And yeah, we remember there was no league. For us, competition is very important. There was a British academy who was organizing a league, which for us was not good enough because, for example, the goalkeeper couldn't get out of the box, and there were some rules that were very difficult. But we started making the impact in that league because we won every single issue with our kids, just coming new. Everything was new. So then we realized that we have to create our own league with the rules that we see are fair according to FIFA. And we started with the facilities we have to develop our own league because we couldn't play the local league. The UAE league is impossible to play unless you are a local Emirati. No? So it was every year there was a challenge, and the challenge was coming with the context. And instead of just complaining and giving excuses, that's what defines us. I think it's going to sound arrogant, but now nothing can stop us if we really have the passion to develop things. No? And it sounds very cheesy and very generic, but again, it's what we do. We see a problem there, we see a stone in the middle, we try to remove it because we think there is a way to do it. We developed the league. We were able to bring some teams. Some of our part-time coaches were the referees. So we won the leagues again for 2 years, and then we were told that we were winning because our coaches were the referees. So there was always a problem, no? So we went to the sports council, who said, this is the league, just absorb it, please. Put independent referees, and we can play all together. And that was the moment in which we realized we could do something internationally in Dubai. Again, bringing a tournament like this is not easy. You need a lot of muscle financially, as you might understand. Mitchell has it, but Mitchell has a determination. And again, for me, it's difficult to be next to him because he wants to tackle every single project that comes to him. But as I said to him, like, I'm a fucking crazy guy next to you, but we're going to do it because we are together in this. And that's how the Intercontinental Cup came. And I remember we had just 2 weeks just 2 months to prepare everything, to buy the teams, to make everything happen. And I don't know how we did it. It didn't happen. And the fourth edition was there, and it was fantastic. And seeing all the people having fun, and all you guys covering it, and seeing how this is growing. I don't know. You are interviewing me, but at the same time, I'm just talking to you, telling you what we feel, no? The journey is bringing much more than that. I mean, we are trying to go beyond that, going to Spain as much as possible, trying to make sure that we have a lot of international tournaments. Parents are convinced that investment in those travels are good for their kids, and they realize that when they leave the airport and they land in Spain or in Rome or wherever we go, and they come back, they're different kids. They have something else. It's not football only. It's the way they define themselves as people, no? And that's the way Spanish Super School is working. In terms of expansion plans, we have tried a couple of times, and it's very difficult for us because everything depends on trust. And we don't want to do franchising because then it's going to lose the power of the Spanish Super School. So if we are going to do something in India or in Japan or wherever we want to do it, we have to make sure it's the right partner. We have to make sure they understand what we are trying to achieve. and they have to understand that the name behind has been taken care so much from the Dubai side that is something that they have to do really well. So we need a really good infrastructure. I mean, first of all, the facilities have to be very good. The coaching team, which is key for us, is important. And obviously, Mitchell is not a typical ambassador. He's not a typical director that is just sitting out in an office in Singapore trying to manage something in Dubai. It's a guy who is coming to the ground, who is giving you a lot of power to do things, but at the same time, it's pushing you to do it well. I think as a project, it's impossible to beat. It's very difficult for me to tell you something different. Madrid was fantastic because he gave me the coaching background that I have at the moment. He made me a coach, he made me a man, but this has made me a completely different person. This is a project that if we see one player from Spanish Super School one day starting in a stadium in first division, I don't know where, as we say in Spanish, my balls are gonna drop. And that's it. It's how we feel it. Real Madrid was a fantastic company, fantastic club, a big thing, but this is ours. This is something that we developed from the scratch, and it's a different feeling, honestly speaking.
Yeah, I can clearly tell, based upon whatever you told me right now, based upon the conversation that we had in Dubai as well, based upon the conversation that I had with Mitchell when I was in Dubai, this is your baby. And when it's your baby, you're very possessive about it. It's something else. You can take care of someone else's baby, right? It gives you a sense of satisfaction. You might be responsible for nurturing that baby, but when you're doing that to your baby, right, it's so much more meaningful, so much more gratifying.
Exactly what you're saying. It's like the tunnel effect. We don't see anything else. When you have your baby, then you don't see the rest.
Right.
And yeah, no, Spanish Soccer School for us is more than a job. It's a way of life. I'm telling you, and we feel responsible sometimes for the parents who are investing so many hours and so much time with us that sometimes we don't sleep. And if there is a problem, it's very hard for us to sleep, and it's very hard for us to understand, and it's very hard for us. I don't know. It's a big project, and yeah, 7 years with all the Spaniards here living so far from Spain. It's obviously the quality of life, not at this point, but usually it's very good because the project is strong, it's very strong.
And Iñaki, you had briefly mentioned that the goal of the Spanish soccer schools is not just to create like the next Messi's and Ronaldo's of the world, but also teach them life principles, right? Teach them about life. Because in many ways, as you said, oftentimes when you're facing some impediment, some barrier in life, you can think about, okay, how would you tackle this if you were on the football pitch? Would I give up, or would I actually, still battle through? And so in many ways, sport, especially football, is a good life teacher, right? So, and you also touched upon how through the Spanish soccer schools program, you're making some of the players mentally tougher, right? Now they can also take on like a lot of challenges that life throws their way, right? So talk to me a bit about the fitness side of things. And when I say fitness, not just physical fitness, this also includes your mental strength, your mental fortitude, your mental stamina. So talk to me a bit about that. As someone who has a PhD in sports sciences, in physical education, you of course understand, how important it is for these players to keep physically fit. So talk to me about that first, and then we can also touch upon the mental fitness side of things.
Yeah, of course. Fitness as it is, I remember when in the 90s, where in football there was not the figure of the physical coach, no, the physical trainer. The coach was the coach and he was doing all the disciplines, everything. The physical coach obviously is very specific because he's taking care of not only the way the physique is developing, he's taking care of how they eat, how they sleep, how they manage the relationship with their partner, with their wife, with their girlfriend. And I think that's why becoming a coach is the most beautiful job in the world because you have to be super prepared to be a super father. Yeah, you are a super father. You are covering a lot of aspects, no? And you don't have 2 kids; you have 25. And that's a big job. But coming back to the fitness side, I think that's one part which I'm not gonna say the typical thing that we forget, but in youth teams is something that we have to take care of more often. How do I mean this? Sometimes when some I don't know parent comes to us and like my kid is not fit. How do you know he's not fit? no, because he's overweight or he's that, and it's like, okay, let's see what he can do with the ball. And instead of just starting making the different tests, or the yo-yo test, or the whatever, which is fine, and he's objective and he's very good, like, how is he here? And yeah, I'm telling you, if you want to climb Burj Khalifa tomorrow without a rope, you can do it if mentally you want to do it. So the power of coaching, and I'm not talking about football coaching, the power of coaching here is very powerful. And if you are able to convince someone to eat pasta every day because it's good for them to achieve the dream, they will eat pasta every day, which is not the right thing. But I'm just telling you, the fitness for a kid, for example, when they are from 2 years old till 10 is completely different than the fitness that you have to do with a kid when it's from 11 to 14 and it's from 15 to 18. So it's not about doing weights and doing abs and doing burpees. It's about making sure what the burpees are for, how much you can use them, and how do you complement that with the nutrition? How do you complement that with the invisible training, which is resting, which is making sure that you are not overloading people coaching, that you're not hitting them in the moment they are not mentally prepared to accept it. And sometimes we don't realize it's not about being Rocky Balboa all the time. It's about making sure where is my player, physically, mentally, and the most important thing, in terms of nutrition. The nutrition is very important, not just because it's important. It's the fuel. It's like you have a Ferrari and you put the wrong petrol, the Ferrari is gone. And if you have a Peugeot and it's not a Ferrari, don't put petrol for Ferrari because then it's not going to be run. So in the end, it's all about metaphors of simple things in life, which in the end comes to us. The fitness is important. You can try this fitness. You can try this fitness isolated, different than the coaching. You can put it inside the football drills, in the technical tactical drills, adding elements of fitness. You can do it many ways, but the important thing is how do you control the fitness? How do you know that the fitness that you do today is intensity very high or very low or the volume or whatever? Oh, you have lots of factors. You can have the time, you can have the physical, the heart rate monitor system. You can have a lot of things. For example, with the kids, we use a lot of time the rate of perceived exertion, which is they're going to tell me how they feel. Because for me, maybe I put you to run 20 meters and you are super fit because you are very strong. And for you, it's not very tiring. But for me, maybe it's very tiring. So in order to adapt to each other, we have to make sure that the fitness levels between both of us are exactly the same. And in terms of measure. So fitness-wise, nutrition-wise, that's the thing that sometimes we take for granted. No, it's something that you need to actually measure and measure it well without becoming a crazy freak of measuring. But you have to make sure that at the same time you are able to do it. Why? Because then you're gonna know if the weather is good or not in your kids. Okay? Maybe you think it's sunny and it's not sunny. It's raining. So it's important for you to make sure that the level is right. And for example, for this case, the demand was there and we developed the Spanish soccer performance. And these kids are specifically selected because they have the talent, they have the technique, they have the tactics, they have the physicality, and they have the attitude to achieve something else. In this case, in this program, for example, we measure them really well. And we are making sure that they are in a lifestyle of a youth footballer in terms of trying to understand where they are, how they want to achieve. We work on them mentally a lot on the cognitive side. Let's say that we take care of them as footballers, no? And yeah, that's another project that I started 2 years ago because we saw the potential over there. And some of the kids that you can see in this intercontinental are going through that. Because actually, the intercontinental, you see, is a war. It's a football fantastic party, but at the same time, it's a war for them because the amount of stimulus they have around, the amount of different super competitive options that they have to fight against, sometimes it's overloaded. And we help them to understand your legs are shaking, don't worry, that's normal. I mean, you're going to play against Real Madrid right now. It's normal that your legs are shaking. Let's try to relax that. Let's see how we do it. And when they are able to face these difficulties, these challenges, which are very tough, they feel much stronger. And you have to go with them and make sure that they understand what's going on. Because if not, it's like having in front of you a gorilla who is three bodies higher than you. How are you going to tackle this gorilla? It's very difficult. Well, try to go to the feet, and probably that will be the first weakest point that you can find. So in the end, it's about making them understand that don't worry, I'm here with you, I'm here for you, and in the end, the one who's going to make the decision is you. But I'm going to make sure that you make the best decision that you can. The process, I mean, I can talk to you 20 years about this, but in the end, the factor is the result, and the results are good because most of the players make us better because they understand our message, and that's the most important thing, I think.
And Iñaki, I'll tell you what's astonishing and mind-boggling for me. Of course, at the Dubai Under 30 tournament, you had kids who were 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, and at that age, when you have that kind of mental tenacity, right, is absolutely incredible. Like you talk about how a lot of people say what separates the men from the boys is here. Like anyone can go to the gym, anyone can bang out lots of reps, anyone can become physically stronger. But then when you're going through testing times, right, that body might not help as much. It might help to some extent, but it's what you have here. So that's why when I think of someone like a Sergio Ramos, for example, right, of course he's supremely fit, but then I think about this first. This is what Sergio Ramos has, like the fortitude, right? So tell me something. Of course, Sergio Ramos is a senior professional, 34 years of age. In the Real Madrid setup, he probably has lots of psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists working, right? But I know you mentioned that you're doing a lot of mental preparation work with these kids at the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Are they also exposed to psychiatrists, psychologists, or is it a slightly different style in which you guys make them mentally tougher?
I would love to have something like that, but resource-wise, it's impossible. We are not Real Madrid. We are Real Madrid is a Ferrari. We always say the same. We are a Peugeot with a really strong engine. Okay, so we have to make sure that the engine doesn't make the Peugeot fall apart. So that's why we have to be careful with the with the speed that we put on them. But yes, they are not surrounded by psychologists, but they know how to face, for example, now a problem with a referee. And we have several problems with referees here, and we have several problems with different parents, and we have some different problems with conflicts between players, and they need to know how to handle that. And actually, we do role plays with them, and they have fun because in the end they become actors. But in the end, when that happens to them, they come back to that moment and we were having fun over there in the conference room, and they say, "Ostras, Iñaki told me in this moment maybe." And when you do that with a 11-year-old or a 13-year-old, which is fun, when they are becoming 18, I'm sure they're gonna remember that. Why? Because we had a session in which you are not gonna hit someone because he's calling you something that you don't want to hear about your mom or whatever. You're going to be able to understand your emotions. You're going to be able to understand the consequences of doing something like that, and you're going to be able to come to terms. That's what we talk about mental preparation. In terms of attitude, when there are kids that are winning all the time, and suddenly they see that there is a match in which they are losing 2-0, and they don't understand why, and they start crying and becoming anxious and everything, that's where we have to impact. Say, guys, no one is going to die here. No one is going to lose his job or is going to be too like this. But the attitude towards a match, and for example, we do this with older players. Imagine that your coach, the one that you like the most, is right now going to lose his job. Well, if we lose this match, imagine that he's going to lose his job. So that's what the footballers in first division are doing every single match. That's the feeling that they have. Can you try to understand what that is? Well, that's how you have to play. Imagine that this coach is going to lose his job. And imagine that coach that you like so much, Edgar, Pablo, Miguel, whoever, you're not going to see them again. Of course, you're going to see them again because you're in a process in which is education. But that's how first division works. That's how professionality works. And when they put themselves in that body, sometimes they feel it. And the whole play is quite funny. We do, for example, press conference, and we put some journalists, which is themselves, and we put them over there, and at the beginning they laugh. But when they make a question about their personal life or whatever, they don't like it. That's exactly what happens to the footballer. So working on this mental level is not only for psychiatrists or psychologists. It's for people that is involved in football that are able to make them understand how they have to feel. And obviously, the level of empathy has to be huge. And that's what they do. They try to put themselves in the one in front to see what they are feeling. And for example, the relationship with the referees has improved a lot. The referees, I usually say, are the only ones who have no crowd. We have the red crowd, we have the yellow crowd, and what about the black crowd? There is no crowd over there. So imagine how they must feel. And yes, sometimes they are very bad, and you want to kill them. But oh, if we kill them all, there is no game. So probably we have to protect them. And in the end, if we are able to nurture the kids from that perspective, they are going to become not footballers. Is what I'm telling you. They are going to become really strong people, and that's the job. That's what we are trying to achieve. And football is the tool. Football is the tool to develop the players. I might be a coach or a PE teacher or whatever. What I am trying to do is to develop players at the best that we can. In the end, if they cannot make it as a player, at least they can raise a company, a family, or whatever they want to raise. But they're going to remember always us as people that they were there to develop them as people. That's it.
Lovely. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the lessons that you've learned throughout your life have, come from the time that you've spent on the football pitch. A lot of the lessons that Michel Salgado has learned, about business,
Yeah.
about life, have come from his playing days, and being able to withstand the pressure that he was under when he was at the Santiago Bernabeu, playing in front of like 85,000 people, people whistling, people booing, but he's still, staying there for 90 minutes, giving his 120%.
And his attitude is very important for us because I'm coming from the youth team's perspective. He's coming from the professional perspective at the top level, and I think that marriage is perfect because obviously we get on well. It's not difficult to handle Mitchell all the time. Sometimes he's very pushy, but let's say that we are the translator to each other, to the people, no? And at the same time, I can see that the kids sometimes they see him really tough and really determined, and sometimes they're a bit scared. But I said that like, well, this is what you want. You want to become like him. And the good thing that he has, he's been in the best team probably in the world in a club with all the Galacticos and all of these ones. And if we mention them by name, probably they are the best footballers. And he was able to not only live, to survive for 11 years in that dressing room. So the adaptability, the stress, the determination, the football, everything that he must have in that moment, for me, is a case of a study to say, wow, that's a survivor. That is a survivor. And I'm working with him. And I'm working with him teaching kids, which for him, I can imagine, must have been crazy to come up from the top of the top of the top, go to the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, and start teaching a kid, Allah, put it with the inside, and again and again. Well, for me, that's value. Maybe I've never taught him this, but for me, that's the thing that I admire the most. The capacity of adapting. Of course, when we have the Intercontinental and we see Real Madrid playing or Barcelona or this one, and the team, it's like music for our ears. It's what we used to have, no? But our day-to-day life is not like that. Our day-to-day life is we have to develop players that are in a different level sometimes. So, yeah, in the end, if you don't like this, forget about it. It's better for you to go home and be a taxi driver if you want, with all respect to the taxi driver. But the most important thing is to live it. If you don't live it, it's better not to do it.
And you talk about adapting. Of course, we're having to adapt right now, given the trying and testing times that we're facing right now. So, I was wondering if you have any advice to give to up and coming footballers, to youngsters, with regard to what they can be doing, given the times that we're facing right now. Of course, there are lots of constraints. They can't really venture out. They can't really train outdoors. But is there something that they can still do? In terms of how they can keep fit, in terms of nutrition, in terms of some indoor training that will still keep them somewhat sharp.
Yeah. Well, I think it's all about routine. It's all about making sure that you can fill your day with things that are not difficult for you. And I'm going to explain this. I always tell my wife, What if one day we lose our job and we have, I don't know, one year doing nothing? What would you do? And I always have a list that I did myself 7 years ago, and I'm adding it every day, of things that I would like to do, or a book that I would like to read, or a place that I would like to visit. Of course, now you cannot visit any place, but things that you would like to do that you will never have, you've never been able to do it. Why? Because either you didn't have time, you didn't have money, or you didn't have the power to do it. Okay, now we have the time. So it doesn't have to be football all the time. I mean, but probably you can actually, you want to become a coach, or you would like to, why don't you start coaching online? There are many sessions online of becoming a coach. You would like to study music. There are many YouTube sessions in order to play the saxophone. My wife is now doing saxophone for us. You want to learn Italian because there is always now is the moment to learn Italian if you want to learn Italian. So instead of complaining and finding problems everywhere, okay, the only problem that we have right now is that we are, let's call it in a prison. Oh, but this prison is wonderful. I am with the people that I love. I am with the laptop that I have, which I have access to all the world. That depends on me to fill up my gap and to make sure that I want to do all the things that you do. What you are doing right now, you have to do the interviews online, you do it online. What I have to do right now, I have to do online coaching sessions. Okay, I'm gonna develop the best possible coaching online sessions that I will be able to do. Okay, and I will perfection it. Why? Because if now there is a kid in India who wants to be coaching with us and cannot make it because he cannot pay for the flight to come to Dubai, okay, maybe I can develop a program for you, and you don't have to spend that much money. So, sorry to sound cheesy again, but every problem is an opportunity. And I know it sounds very, yeah, tell me that, but now, no, seriously, it's here. Everything is here. Now, uh, my wife was, she's a practitioner. He bought a running machine a month ago. I mean, a year ago. Oh, so it's perfect. Now it's perfect. Now we can run at home. So, but you cannot run because you cannot go outside. Okay, there are cheap running machines in the market. I don't know. Less excuses. I understand the situation is tough. I understand now everyone cannot train. I'm coaching them, the kids over there, and we have sessions of 1 hour, and we will multiply the exercises that we can do. They're going to become better technical players because we are doing lots of technique. They're going to be more fit than before because tactical sessions sometimes are not specifically focused on developing fitness. Hey, it's a different story. But no excuses. No excuses. Now you have the perfect moment to tell yourself, no, I cannot do this. You have the perfect excuse if you want to use excuse. But if you are a person with attitude, with determination, get out there, bro, get out there. Get in here and work out there. And I'm sure that you're going to be able to do it. I'm sure that you need a lead. In the Spanish Soccer School, we are going to develop an online session. Don't worry. Someone wants in the world to coach with us, and we have the possibility to coach them, we'll do it. And they will feel it. But for me, now I see there is another opportunity. Now I can coach someone from Nigeria if I want. If they cannot come here, maybe I can coach someone from Nigeria. And I will try to do it with all my heart as much as well as possible. Of course, the pitch is the best of the best. But now we're going to realize how important was for us to be on that pitch. There was a moment in which I am bored of not coming there. I remember my grandparents trained me all times of war. Okay? Figo put a really nice tweet the other day. They told our parents to go to war, and they survived. They're telling us to stay at home. Stay fucking at home and use the phone. So in the end, it's about learning from the past to not to make the same mistakes. These mistakes right now, they have put a virus that's not going to take us out. Yeah, my grandma died a couple of days ago. I'm not crying in the corner. I'm continuing there because I have the energy to say, okay, I'm going to do it for you, and for you, and for you. This is something I don't understand. Well, I'm not going to stop it. We're going to continue, no matter what. And it's what I think we have to bring to the people that is next to us, to bring the feeling of, listen, this cannot stop us.
And
And
you
it's
spoke
not
about
easy, eh?
and you spoke about reframing problems as opportunities, and you mentioned that it sounds a bit cheesy, sounds a bit cliched, sounds a bit trite, but the only reason it sounds trite and cliched is because it's very true. Like I read this book recently, it's called "The Obstacle Is the Way." It's by Ryan Holiday, this American author, and he talks about exactly that. How like the best in the business reframe all the problems that they face as opportunities. So no one wears this cloak of invulnerability. Like everyone is vulnerable, but what separates the amateurs or the rookies from like the elite is the fact that the elite look at those problems as opportunities, and they're like, you know what? Instead of actually thinking, okay, it's all about damage limitation right now. How can I still make headway during these testing times?
Exactly, exactly. And I appreciate what you're doing because actually what you're doing right now, I can see you that you prepare yourself really well, calm, and everything. Why? Because this is the moment to make an interview that usually you do it outside, but now you have to do it like this. But it's perfect, and then we do it. And I take time from my time, but it's very limited to do it with you because you are exactly like me. Hala, let's go forward. Let's not stop it. And the people that is not like this, with all my respect, is not interested for me. It's not because I don't want to see sad people. I don't want to see people that is down and everything is no. Now we're gonna appreciate life every minute out there more than before. So for me now, when I jump into a pitch and there is a coach coming to me, I don't know if I am. I said, man, this is a privilege for you to be right there and doing right now. So I think it's a lesson. I don't know why, and this is from my family. I think someone out there, I'm not very Catholic, very clear. Someone out there is sending a message. It's telling us, hey, you guys have to do things different way. Just start thinking about it. And there are people who are going to think about it, and there are going to be people that are going to be complaining. But I'm not going to be a complainer. I'm going to try always to go forward thinking and continue developing whoever players are coming with us with the same level of attitude, at least, or try. At least we're going to try. As we said in Madrid, and this is the best learning that I got, we are never losing, we are almost about to draw. That's the attitude we have to have. If there is a moment you are losing, you are not losing. It's always trying to draw, always. And if we lose, we lose. But try. If you don't try, forget it. But it's better just to not do anything, to not do it.
Certainly, a lot of practical philosophy in your message, and it's good that we're ending proceedings on a very optimistic note.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Likewise, muchas gracias.
A ti. Bye bye.